Hello guys, it's Fiona. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to show you how to make a homemade jelly plate for monoprinting. And now you can make all sorts of beautiful collage papers and pages for your junk journals, your art journals, for putting into collage art, mixed media, and they're really great. They're just, you can make such beautiful papers out of these, and I'll be making some videos on how to use them for those of you that are beginners. So this one here, this one is a homemade jelly plate, and I just wanted to talk about what happened with this one. Now I actually originally made this one over a year ago, and it was a rectangular shape. And when I got it out the other day, because I haven't done this for a long time, I just had it stored away in my cupboard, and when I took it out the other day, it had shrunk. It had shrunk in size a little bit, and it was all a little bit warped, and it was still working, but not, you know, it wasn't as great as it should have been. So anyway, I found out that you can actually melt them down. I think I was watching the Frugal Crafter, Lindsay Welsh, on YouTube, and I was watching one of her videos, and she said she had melted one of hers down. So I actually remelted it in the microwave. I did it in 30-second increments, and it took 3 goes to melt it all down, so that's about 1.5 minutes. And what I did, because the recipe with this one had alcohol in it, it had isopropyl alcohol. I thought that perhaps it had shrunk because of the alcohol in it sort of evaporating, but I mean, I wasn't really sure. And it was really, really sort of tough and hard, so I knew that it had plenty of gelatin in it. So I added some more hot water, boiling hot water, to, you know, give it a bit more, plump it out a bit, because it had shrunk. And that's what I did, but this time I poured it into a round pan, and I made a round one. And it turned out really great, even after melting it down. It's got a really smooth surface now. So anyway, that's the previous one that I made that had the alcohol in it. But I've since found another recipe that a few people I've seen using, and they don't use the alcohol. So I thought, well, why not give that a try, because their plates seem to turn out really well, and I haven't heard anything about them shrinking or anything like that. So that's the recipe that I'm going to show you today. If I can find the alcohol one, I will link it in the description, but I honestly can't remember where I got that recipe from, because it was so long ago. But I'm going to show you this other one. All you need is gelatin. Just hang on a sec, I'll just show you. All you need is gelatin powder. Now I've got, you know, obviously the little tub of powder. The tutorials that I watched, they were using the little sachets, and I couldn't get those, so I've got the powder. But from what I can gather, 1 sachet is about 1 tablespoon. So, and you need 7. So I'm just going to add 7 tablespoons of this gelatin powder. And the other thing you need is glycerin. You can buy these bottles of glycerin just in the supermarket. And you'll need 2 of those, because you need 1.5 cups. And the only other thing you're going to need is boiling water. So, yeah, so I'm going to show you how to make it. So let's get started. Okay, so I've just got a glass bowl here, which I'm going to make my mixture in. I think that you can mix it straight into the pan that you're pouring it into. Because today I'm making a rectangular one. I've got one of those, basically a biscuit tray or a slice tray. I'm not sure what mine measures, but I will measure it. I think, just let me get a piece of paper. I just want to see. I've just got a piece of A4 paper. And yeah, this is the perfect size for an A4 page. But when we go to pour it, I'll measure it then. So I'm just going to use that, and I want to make a couple of smaller ones. So that's if I've got enough mixture, because it's good to have some little ones. You can kind of use them for rolling off on the side, or for use them as a little stamp. So I've just got a little plastic container there, and then I want to make a little tiny round one. So any sort of, you know, plastic or metal containers that you've got, you can make them in all shapes and sizes. So anyway, to start off with, you're going to need 1.5 cups of glycerin. So I've got my measuring jug, and I'm just going to measure. Probably can't see. Sorry, I can't really see to measure. Well, I can pour one in because I know that's less than a cup. It's 200 mils. Pour that one in, and then I just need to hold this up so I can get 1.5 cups. And you just end up with a tiny bit left over. So that's 1.5 cups, so I'm going to pour that in. And I'm using a silicone spatula. And you can hear my kettle boiling in the background, because we're going to need some hot water. So that's the glycerin. So the next thing you do is you, actually that plate underneath is probably making it harder for you to see, so I'm just going to take that out. That's what I have my jelly plate on. And now I'm going to add 7, rough tablespoons of the gelatin. So let's just open this. I'm not sure why you don't mix it in the hot water first, but because to me it would dissolve quicker that way, but there must be a reason for it. I'm just trying to think why you couldn't. Well, probably putting it in the hot water would actually make it go clumpy, and you'd end up with more lumps. So anyway, we mix it in with the glycerin. I've got a few bubbles, but I'm not too worried, but you need to sort of try to not have too many bubbles on the top of your plate. Although I found it didn't matter too much, because with the other one that I made, I did have bubbles on the top, but you actually turn the plate over. So so the bottom becomes the top, and it's smooth and free of air bubbles. So let's do this. So I think a sachet has like a flat sort of a tablespoon like this. So just sprinkle it on. 1, 2, and I'm hoping this is enough. I haven't tried this recipe yet. 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like a lot, doesn't it? 7. So at least we know it's going to set. We'll see how it turns out. So this has to sit for a while, and you can start mixing. I'm just spreading it out a bit more, letting it settle into the gelatin. Now what you don't want are lumps. See, there's a lump there. You'll need to get the lumps out when you start mixing. I'm just going to let that sit for about a minute, and then I will start mixing. Okay, so I've given it about a minute, and most of the gelatin has soaked down into the glycerin. I've still got some pieces on the top here, but I'm going to start mixing just really, really slowly. And it's going to go all gluggy, but you want to mix and get rid of any lumps. And this mixing is going to take around about 5 minutes to mix it properly. So I will speed some of this up so you don't have to just sit and watch me mixing for 5 minutes. So the idea is to mix it in and try and get rid of all the little lumps. I'm just like pressing them against the side of the bowl. And getting that gelatin to dissolve it as much as you can. And why I'm saying you need to mix slowly is because I actually find it hard to mix slowly because I'm used to sort of hand mixing my cakes, and I usually mix pretty fast. But it's because we don't want too many air bubbles. I've got some, but I'm not actually too worried about it. So you can set your timer for 5 minutes or whatever you want to do, and just mix for about 5 minutes. There's not too many lumps, which is really good. I thought there would be a lot more lumps than this. I'm hoping I haven't put too much gelatin in because it's quite thick. Although, yeah, we have to add water, so it's going to be fine. It's quite fun. And you guys, you're going to love the jelly plate. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen a lot of people on YouTube and Instagram using jelly plate prints, but there's still a lot of beginners out there, so I'm just showing you my sort of art journey, and hoping that you want to follow along with me. And by the way, I am really grateful and thankful to everyone who has followed me on YouTube and in my Facebook group, and people that buy my printables in my shop, and a lot of the lovely comments that I've been getting. It's fantastic. And I'm thinking about doing some live videos, some Facebook lives or some YouTube lives, videos, live streaming, so that, you know, I can have someone to chat to while I'm creating, and you can create along with me. But I don't have the best internet connection here, unfortunately, so that's why I haven't done it so far, because I've been a bit worried about whether it's going to be good enough for the live streaming. But yeah, I really want to get into that. Still mixing. It must be nearly 5 minutes. I'm not sure because I'm not timing, I'm just guessing. Look at that, all the lumps are out. Okay, so I'm thinking that's around 5 minutes. So I'm just going to measure, go to my kettle and measure 1.5 cups of hot water. Can't see the numbers on it now. There we go, that's 1.5 cups of water. So now it's hot water, so let's start pouring it and mixing. I'm going to pour it fairly slowly because I'm a little bit worried about air bubbles. I don't know if I'm mixing too fast. Mixing. And now when you've added the hot water, you have to keep mixing until all of the gelatin is dissolved and becomes clear. So I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't think it should take too long. I'll just pause the video so you don't have to watch this. Okay, so now from what I can see, all of my gelatin has dissolved in there. There's a few air bubbles. And I've been mixing for about 5 or 6 minutes. When it's no longer coating your spoon or your spatula, and I'm looking just at this end, it's smooth, there's no little granules in it when I take it out, then I can see that it's dissolved. Let's try a spoon and see. I need a clean one. Yeah, there's no granules in there, so that's all dissolved. So I'm gonna now and mine has a yellow tinge to it. Now that must be the gelatin that we've got here, because I've noticed some ladies in the US that were making theirs. Theirs were completely clear. They didn't have this yellow tinge to it. So anyway, I think it's just the type of gelatin. So I'm going to just pour this into my jug. because it's going to make it easier to pour into the pan. Okay, so first of all I'm going to pour my big one, my rectangular one. Make sure your pan is clean, obviously. And if there's not enough for the other two, that's okay, but we'll see. Make sure you're on a flat surface, or a level surface, I should say. And it only needs to be, you know, 3/4 to 1/2 inch thick. Seeing if I may have enough for the little round one. That looks thick enough to me. Even a 1/4 inch thick would work. Okay, let's see if I can get a little rectangular one as well. Yep, I can. Awesome. This one's, it's hard to see once you've poured it in because of the light. Now it's hard to see the angle on how deep it is. I think I'm just going to add the rest to this. Shall I? We might get a little one, a little mini one out of that. So now, basically, see these air bubbles on the top? It doesn't really matter because, as I said, once you've completed it, once it's set, this is not going to be the top. You flip it over and you will use the bottom, as that will be a smooth surface. So I mean, it doesn't worry me too much, but I'm just gonna, you know, pop a few of them. And then you can put it in the fridge to set, which is what I do. Well, you could probably just leave it out on your bench overnight, but I think in the fridge probably about 5 hours. My other one actually only took a couple of hours, but we'll see how we go. This is a different recipe. Okay, so I'm just going to continue doing that. I'm going to pop them in the fridge, and later tonight when they are all done, I'll come back and show you the result.